right, so the first tool I want to talk about today is the Franklin County Auditor. Most counties in Ohio will have an online auditor website that you can use. Franklin County's auditor website is great. So the really cool thing about Ohio is that we are a disclosure state, meaning that most of this information about property owners is online and is for free. If you go to states like California and I believe Texas, a lot of that information is actually hidden, or you have to pay to get it. So you'll have to pay to use the auditor site or pay per house listing. So we've got a great free tool, and I'm going to show you how to use it from the basics up to a little bit more difficult things that I do to actually get some leads from it. So first thing first, let's go to real estate. Okay, and then we'll do property search. Now you can do search by a couple different ways. By owner, address, parcel ID. There's some other searches, but mainly most of the time I'm either using the owner search or address or the map search. For this example, we'll do map search and we'll pick a random property we can look at. So I'm gonna go over here to Upper Arlington and just find a random house. Let's see. All right, so this looks like a good house to choose. Robert James. I'll click on that. So this is going to be the main page that you see when you pull up a property record on the auditor site. We're just going to talk through all the cool tools that it has. So the very first thing you'll have is just the basics, right? So you have amount of rooms, bedroom, bathroom count, acreage, the 2023 taxes, which is nice to see. And then also if you click on the person's name, you can see if they own any other properties. This guy, he has a pretty common name, so there is a chance this might not be him. So just know that if it is a common name, it sometimes pulls up other people. But that's going to be your summary page. You can also go to land profile, learn about the zoning, what's there, how many feet of frontage. If you go to the residential tab, this is nice because you can see the different square feet at each level. So if I'm doing a rehab project, sometimes I want to put carpet upstairs and then LVP. This is a way to just run some quick measurements of where I'm going to be putting flooring, or just get some quick numbers. Over here, improvements. So you'll see a lot of times if it wasn't permitted, it's not going to show up here, but they added a garage, some decking, and a canopy. Shows when. Which is nice. So that helps with a little bit of research if you're trying to figure out the age of a new addition or whatnot. Next is going to be permits. A lot of times it doesn't show here. So I'll show you how to use the permit portal here in a second, but sometimes the permits do show. This is great for getting understanding of the age of the mechanicals and whatnot if they did pull permits. Mapping is nice because you can check out the property lines, check on the neighbors, see what's going on with the neighbor situation. You can easily just go back and forth, click on them, and you can open their page. That is nice as well. Sketch tool. This is great for people who do rehabs and flips. Reason being is it just gives you some quick measurements. So I can give this printout to my contractor and say, hey, here are the basic measurements, and that way we can run quick numbers based on the layout and the floor plan. So it's not, by no means is it a super detailed sketch, but it helps get your point across when you're just trying to talk general numbers. Photos. Auditor normally takes photos every couple years, if not every year. So you'll see you can go through and see the history of the house. Always download those too. Then you got Street Smart. Street Smart is great because I like it actually. I think it's different than your Google Maps or Street View. I found that sometimes the photos are different. So I'm not sure who they use for that, but you can do a lot with this. I mean, zoom in and whatnot. So this is super helpful. I always, especially if I'm buying a property sight unseen, I like to take walks down the street. So you can see what the feel of the neighborhood is and go from there. Aerial photos, pretty straightforward there. But it's actually a little bit better than your Google Maps once again, because you can look at it from different angles. So sometimes, for instance, if I don't know how many windows in our house, I can go through, change the angle, check it out, check out the roof, see how everything's going up there. So that's super helpful. And then also you can click this PDF button and you can export that image to a PDF. Transfers, this is just going to show when it's transferred over the years. If you want to check the history, you can go back all the way to when it was built. For instance, this one, Arlington Ridge Realty Company back in 1926. So you can check out some history there. The next thing I like to look at is the tax calculators. Now, as a realtor, I know a lot of realtors that will help investors looking to build a portfolio, and they give them the current tax numbers. And I'm sure many of you guys have seen how the tax numbers have jumped up recently. So in order to do your job, I think it's important to let any investor who's buying a property or rental property know that more than likely, if the taxes look off, if they're too good to be true, they normally are. And so you can go over here to Tax Estimator here. And so you'll see that it's currently valued at $304,000. Now imagine this property was in Hilltop, and it's say the value was $100,000. I'm sorry, say it was $50,000, and all of a sudden it was rehabbed, and so eventually the taxes are going to go up. So in order to calculate proper cash flow, all you had to do, just go over here, say after renovations, it's now worth roughly $450, and you'll see, hold on, calculate. You'll see it went up about $3,000. So with that being said, once again, check your numbers, make sure you're going to cash flow on a property before you buy it. All right. And then one more thing too, this isn't super common, but there is a rental contact field. Some landlords do fill it out. I don't see too many who do. So it's nice if it's there, but I wouldn't count on it. Once again, you got parcel ID number up there. What's cool is you can add all of these to a quick report. So when I mainly did realtor stuff and help a lot of buyers, I would bring one of these to every showing, not for the buyer necessarily, but for me, so I know my stuff. So I do, it's the parcel detail. You can click go, and then I'll show you. It'll generate a report. Let's see. Boom. So it's got basically everything we talked about: the transfers, the summary of the lands, one photo, the sketch, value, where the tax money's going, and a lot of times it'll have the permits too. If it's been if permits have been pulled for any project. So that's kind of a cool tool. Another thing too is you can do just neighborhood sales. So click on that and just see what's going on around it. So if you're just really quickly looking for an idea of the sales around it, that's an easy way to do it. You can also do proximity search. So say we want to do it within a quarter mile, click search, and then see the sales price and who the owner is. This is also great if you're looking to wholesale, and so you can go through the LLCs and see who is buying where, and then skip trace them and reach out. So that's the basics of the Auditor site. Like I said, we use this all the time, and it's super helpful. So hopefully there's some value here. I would just have it pulled up in the background whenever you're doing anything else. So that is that. Here in a second, I'll show you how to use another tool on Auditor site that's super helpful. But for just the basics of the Auditor, that is all there is. The next tool I want to talk about is how to use the probate court search. This is super helpful. You can also get some free leads here. I would say if you do reach out to either the attorney or the fiduciary of the estate, just be mindful that a lot of times these people are mourning, and that it's not as simple just asking if they want to sell their home. It can be, but at the same time, have some compassion for these people, because a lot of times they're experiencing loss, and it's not a fun situation. So here we go. If you arrive on the normal Franklin County Probate Court website, you might not be on this page, but all you got to do is click Record Search, General Case Index. If you go down here, you can search the records. So you can do case name. So if you know their first and last name, put last name first and then first. But for this example, I'm just going to do case open date. So let's just type in a random date. Let's do February 10th, 2023. Okay. I'm going to click Submit. And then here are all the probate cases that were open that day. So what I will do is I'm just going to click on a random one. So if you look over here, let's do Tommy. If you click over here on the left side of the column, it'll say case number. Click on that. And then you'll have the deceased person's address. So he's on Old Coach Road in Westerville. Sometimes that is the address to the nursing home or their rental. So for instance, if they didn't own any property, it would not be their address. So just heads up there, shows you when they passed away. You've got your docket here, so you can see where the court case is. You can see if they just opened it, or if it's been an ongoing process. This one, for instance, started in February. it looks like we're in October, so this is the judgment entry approving final count. So this is right toward the end of it. I mean, this is the final home stretch. So sometimes probate takes even longer. It really just depends on the estate and what's going on. So this is good to get a pulse on the situation. The next thing you can do is if you go to view estate fiduciaries and attorneys, you'll see two things. See attorney's name and then the fiduciary of the estate. Normally, the fiduciary of the estate is a loved one, somebody part of their family, somebody they know, or if they don't have anybody, it would be the attorney. So a lot of times they're the fiduciary of the estate too. So the cool thing you can do is click on fiduciary. You can see where the fiduciary lives, their full name, and then their contact number. So this is how you could get free leads. Reach out to the fiduciary. Let them know, you know about the property, want to get more information, and kind of go from there. Also, if you need to speak with the attorney, click on the attorney number here, and you've got their email and their phone number there. So everything you need to reach out and get in touch with probate leads. It's always nice to check and see. Sometimes houses are not in probate yet, and they're in kind of weird situations. So I check the probate court often just to see if that person, the seller, happens to be there, if it's a weird situation. So hopefully this is helpful. I use this tool quite a bit. So now we are on the Franklin County Recorder's website. It's another great free tool that I use all the time. This is one of the tools I use for just proper due diligence when I'm researching a property. I picked a random person in Columbus, don't know them, so if this is you, I'm sorry, but you'll type in the person's name. I found their name through PropTrend. It said they had a lien, and so I looked them up. So what you'll see is everything that's been recorded here. So you got the mortgage, you got the deed. You see there was a release of mortgage at one point. So you can go through here and download if you, for some reason, you wanted their mortgage or wanted a copy of the deed. It's all right here. In addition, there are the other liens that get filed on properties. This one specifically is a mechanic's lien. So this homeowner didn't pay a contractor $827, so they filed a lien, and then it looks like it was later released once they paid. So always check here, make sure that whoever you're dealing with doesn't have any liens or any bad business there. Contractors use this as a resource in order to make sure that the person you're doing business with doesn't have a track record of hurting other contractors and screwing over people. You can look at a few people in Columbus and there's quite a clear track record of some bad business. So always check this. If you're a wholesaler, I advise you to check this as well. Check and see if there's any affidavits filed on the property. A lot of times wholesalers, investors, when they lock up a deal, they'll file an affidavit on the property basically saying they have an interest. And for some reason, if the seller were to go behind their back and try to sell it to somebody else, or if another wholesaler were to snipe your deal and try to steal it from you, they would have to have you release your lien and your interest in the property in order to close the deal. So it's a way to protect yourself if you feel like that is needed. As a rule of thumb, I don't normally file affidavits on properties I wholesale or I'm buying. In many ways, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. I don't want that energy on me, but I understand why people do it. So, do as you wish, but it's not common practice of mine at the moment. So that's Recorder site, super helpful, and you can see what's going on behind the scenes. All right, so next up is the City of Columbus permit portal. I use this to look up building permits, to see if somebody's pulled a permit, to see what contractors they may have used for that permit, and then also you can search for code violations here as well. So there are some free leads there. Let me click on this real quick. So just type in City of Columbus permit portal. It'll normally ask you to log in. You'll have to create an account. I'm already logged in, so we're good to go. You can also see zoning applications and whatnot here as well. But here is what I use it for. So first we'll go to code enforcement, search violation records. If you know the property address, you can get very specific with it, but I'm just going to do a general search. I'm going to leave the search dates pretty open, and then I'm going to go over here to record type. So let's go down here and let's do, just going to find a random category. Let's do enforcement, vacant structure inspection, residential exterior violations. Okay, and then we're going to click search. Okay, so here are the different code violations under this category. You'll see the status is active. Let's click on one of these. You can click record number. see who the owner is there. We can do the record details. Let's see if that pulls up. Nope. Look at attachment. So we can see, let's click on this PDF real quick. So it's going to show the city violation notice, so you can see what's going on. It's going to see what they've cited them for. So that's nice. A lot of times they'll also have photos. So let me see if they've got any photos on this one. Nope, don't see any photos, but you can see when the code inspector plans to come back out. See, they had an initial inspection, and then there's another one right there. Let's see if we can click on the details of that. Yep, so you can also see the comments here. So if the code inspector makes comments, that will be right there. So that is generally how you use it. If you did want to use these as leads, you would just have to skip trace each record. That's what I have one of my virtual assistants do, is just skip trace those records for me. So that is the basics of code violations. So we are still on the City of Columbus permit portal. I'm going to show you how to look up a permit, and then you can also look up the contractor in that too. So I'm going to look up the permit that I pulled yesterday for a roof and some windows on one of my flips. So let me type in the address here. Let's see. And you can just click search. All right, so here's the permit. I'm gonna click on the record number right there, and this will show you exactly what my scope is, doing 14 windows and a roof. And then I'm gonna go over here to processing status. It'll show you where everything is in the process. So depending on the type of permit, it may, there might be multiple inspections, or there might be some plan review. With roofing, siding, doors permit, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit easier to get. So wouldn't be the case in this instance. Also your attachments. So I can go down here and see the actual permit that I hang on the door, see the sign-off sheet. Always, keep this sign-off sheet. You don't want to lose it, especially when you're doing multiple inspections for a project. So that's nice to have. And then let me see. If you go to inspections, you can order an inspection here. Depends on the scope of the project. If it's electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and you're not a tradesman, you won't be able to pull it. But a lot of times you can pull, you can schedule the inspection for, framing, insulation, that type of thing. That if it's pulled under your name and not your contractor's. So also see fees. See that I paid my amount there, and that is it for that. Now I'm going to show you a record where the contractor is involved. So let me scroll down. Let me go down here. So it's pulling up all the other properties on the street that have had permits pulled recently. Let's go to this one. Let's go to mechanical permit right there. And then let's see. Okay, so this pulls up. And then you can see the licensed professional here. So property owner, see the scope of work, who applied. So the looks like the HVAC technician applied for the permit here. And then you've got their contact information too. So if you see, a property that the contractors have done a really good job, you can always check and see who did it. So this is super helpful as well for finding solid contractors that are actually doing quality work. All right, so next up we have the Franklin County Municipal Court Clerk. You can search records, just type in Franklin County Municipal Court on Google, it should pop up. I use this to see if there's any judgments against a person. A lot of times this is like personal information. For instance, sometimes it will show domestic abuse, but also it'll show judgments. So I'm going to show you a seller I helped recently who had a credit card judgment from Wells Fargo that they did not pay. So I'll type in their name right here, show you. And you click search, and if you go down here, I believe it's this one, you can click view, and then you can see who it is, Wells Fargo versus this seller, and then see there was a default judgment. So if you go down here, you could see the docket, see what's going on, but toward the end of it, you'll see the judgment. So on the settlement statement, this had to be paid, and so in the amount of $7,949. So this is just another way to check and make sure that the property is safe to buy and that the seller is telling you the full story. So always check that. So there's one more thing I wanted to show you on the court record search. I'm going to show you what an environmental case looks like. So I just looked up a property that's actually in receivership now. Looks like the story is that somebody had passed away, and in the process, the property was not being taken care of, so it got several code enforcement violations, and then the city ended up taking it over. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I typed in the owner's name there, and this is once again the municipal court search. You'll see there's a case right here. EVH stands for environmental, and click view. All right, and then you'll see City of Columbus versus this deceased gentleman. You'll see all the parties involved in the lawsuit, but you'll see the docket down here. So everything related to the docket for the environmental court case is all right here. So you can check that. What I normally do then, if I find out there is an environmental case, then I go back to the City of Columbus permit portal, and I've already got this pulled up, so I'll show you. You do the search like I showed you before, typing in the address, and then you'll see a list of different addresses on Scribble. Looks like for some time there were a couple different enforcement violations. Let's just click on one. Let me see if there's more over here. Yep, so there's a few more. So let's check this out. Let's click on record number, and then you'll see owner's name. Let's go to record information, attachments, and then there's a couple. So it looks like there's where they posted the service violation photos. So let's click on that and see. So you can see what's going on with this property. All of that is free information right there in the code enforcement section of the City of Columbus permit portal. So that's what I'll do if there's an environmental case. Once again, the whole docket's here, so everything you need to get a good idea of what's going on and the parties that are involved. What I found that a lot of times if it's environmental court, there's normally more to the story. So there's normally a bank that's a party. Obviously the city will be a party because they're suing them for environmental reasons. And then sometimes there's a few other people who have liens or interest in the property. So that's the basics for that one. And that is about it for all the different tools that I use from time to time. So one more thing I will show you is on the Auditor site, and that will be a little bonus, and I'll show you that right now. So the last thing I want to show you guys is how to pull a few lists from the Auditor site. This is helpful if you're looking, for instance, for like vacant land. So go up here to Online Tools, we'll go to Parcel Viewer, and then we will click OK. And then let me just zoom in on like a random, let's just go in the areas, let's just go to like Franklin Park area. I'm just going to pick a random area, and then I'll do by shape, and then I'll do this, the little octagon, the rectangle, boom, and then boom. So I'm just going to open this area, and it's going to show me all the parcels and all the information. What I'll then do is I will go over here, and then I will export it to CSV file. Okay, I'll open that up. And then, so it'll have all information in here. What I then do is I go to property class description, and then I will click sorts, and we're going to sort by, let's see, property class description, which is right here. And then what I'll do then is filter, and I only want to see property class description is, let's do text field. And then I'll do contains, and then say I'm looking for vacant residential, click that, and then you got all your vacant residential there. Then sometimes I'll go through and sort even further, so to see if an LLC owns it or if a homeowner owns it, and then I'll skip trace that list and call it if I'm looking for land or whatever you're looking for. You could do that with any type of category too. So say you are looking for, let's do apartments 4 to 9. Let's do, where is it? Boom. And just text. And then contains property. It's going to be apartments 4. Boom. So that'll show you all the apartments 4 to 19 units in the area. So super helpful. Once again, you will have to skip trace it. But if you call those, there might be a few leads in there. So that's really all I've got to share with you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I can be reached anytime at 614-586-2315. Thanks.